We're just back underway at Dover, and on the first lap after the restart, Dale Earnhardt Jr. gone after Ricky Rudd.
Passed him on the backstretch. Rudd moves into that second spot. His teammate, Dale Jarrett, in third. Tony Stewart in fourth.
Dale Jarrett moving up from 6th to 3rd on the pit stops. Let's take a look at the lead change just a minute ago on the restart.
Go ahead, BP. I'm trying to figure out what happened. It looks like you got maybe a little bit loose or something, because that 8 really just shot off of turn 2.
And either that 8 car got a terrific run off 2, or the 28 car had to squeeze out of the throttle.
So Dale Earnhardt Jr. leading this race for the 3rd different time. Of the 66 laps that we've run, he's been out front for 41 of them. Ron Hornaday under Rusty Wallace. 7th place.
And I saw the left side of Rusty Wallace's car bottom out going in turn 3. Tells me that Rusty has a very, very soft left rear spring in that 2 car.
And probably a little bit down on the air pressures right after the pit stops. Maybe they're not built up enough. Hitting the track a little bit, which we hit the track here, it definitely moves the car. It'll slide the car up the racetrack if you bottom out.
Kevin Harvick in the 29 running in 9th spot. That's Todd Bodine just behind him. A little blue light special, and then Ken Schrader. Championship leader Jeff Gordon. Oh, trouble. Brett Bodine.
Folks, you saw a miracle. You absolutely saw a miracle. You saw a car spin at Dover and not hit the wall.
How can you do that? We saw that yesterday at the Busch race. I don't know how they can do that.
I'm telling you, it's a miracle.
3rd caution of the race. And it's up at lap 70. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Ricky Rudd, Dale Jarrett, Tony Stewart, and Ricky Craven are your leaders at Dover.
NBC's coverage of the MBNA Cal Ripken Jr. 400 is brought to you by Budweiser, with the crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer. This Bud's for you. And by the Wide Track Grand Prix by Pontiac. Wider is better.
This was just moments ago here at Dover. That's Jeremy Mayfield being transported to the local hospital. You heard the report from Matt Yoakum a minute ago. Jeremy was briefly unconscious inside the race car, and so they're taking him to the local hospital for precautionary CAT scans and x-rays. Let's go to Marty Snyder.
Alan, Mike Skinner sits back in 32nd position, and there's been a lot of speculation about how much longer he will be in the car for Richard Childress Racing. I talked to car owner Richard Childress this morning, and Richard told me, I just got water poured on me. That was pretty cool. Anyway, that was Mike's wife. So anyway, while I let you tell stories about her. But anyway, Richard told me that Mike will be out of the car probably before the end of the year. He will have knee surgery, and it looks like he could be out early as Talladega, maybe even as early as Charlotte. Now, popular belief in the garage area is that Robbie Gordon will replace Mike Skinner in this car. The belief of many people is also that if Mike Skinner goes out early this year, that Robbie Gordon will also replace him in the car early this year as well, Alan. I'm going to go dry off now. Thank you.
My wife and Angela have spent too much time together. But no, you're right. Mike's not going to get that done, so he can be completely healed for when the season starts next year. So the only thing about that is he's supposed to be my teammate in the 24-hour. Now he's leaving me hanging on that one. But that's a good way to do it. And I think he's looking at Talladega, after Talladega.
Here's our UPS track fact. 22,1986 seats here. Look at this place today. 140,000, and they're all full. Amazing. Dave Burns.
Alan, Dale Earnhardt Jr. says that the goggles that he has on are not sealing well to his face. He has sweat running down his eyes. He's asked the guys for a plain old rag next time he comes in so he can do this at over 170 miles an hour. Bill?
Well, Jeff Gordon cruising around under caution in the 6th position. On the last set of pit stops, he came in 8th, went out 6th. No changes to his car. They gave him 4 tires and fueled it in 14.30 seconds. That's what helped him pick up those 2 positions on pit road. He runs very well at this track. Green's out.
Hornaday outside of Gordon, trying to pick up 6th.
And he's going by Craven. Oh, Hornaday going somewhere.
He has a reputation as being the best in the business at restarts.
He is the king of restarts. And I know why. Well, I don't think I'll tell you why, though.
Why not?
Well,
because he'll get mad at you.
Probably would.
Look at Tony Stewart poking the nose of that orange car under Dale Jarrett.
Contact between the 14 and 32.
Oh, more contact.
And more contact, and Jeff Gordon almost gets knocked in the wall.
Damage to the left front fender on Gordon's car.
Like we talked about earlier, these are the bullets that he has to dodge, but we just didn't expect to see that far up front. There's considerable amount of damage on that left front right there. See, right?
Yes, and you know, that 24 car, he was so good at Charlotte in the Coke 600. He had damage to the front fender, and it ruined his day.
See if we can see what happened here exactly.
Coming off the corner, we see Hornaday get loose. He backs off the gas, so Craven gets a run. They go down in the corner, and Hornaday comes down the hill. Here, Craven and Hornaday makes contact. And there we see Jeff Gordon getting in the right rear of Ricky Craven with that left front fender.
Here you go on board. It's a little bit tough to see if you can see Jeff did not have a whole lot of room up there. He got really lucky, but still, I think that damage to the left front is going to affect the way that car handles a little bit.
And NASCAR spotters around the racetrack are reporting there is a slight tire rub on that left front for
You
Gordon.
could just see right there, Alan, there was a little bit of smoke right before he got down in the corner there.
Racing Rusty Wallace for 7th place.
Rusty had just taken that spot away from Jeff Gordon. Now Jeff is trying to retake the spot from Rusty Wallace. And done.
To Matt Yoakum.
Alan, down here in the 2 pit, this is the right front tire that came off Rusty Wallace's car. You can see how it is cut on the inside shoulder right there. This tire actually is out of the same batch number that Jerry Mayfield had on his right front. Apparently, Robin Pepperin has had everyone check up and down pit road. This tire was actually made 15 tires apart from Mayfield's. Nobody else on pit road apparently has this batch number. So the good news is they've lucked out with that caution. Unfortunately, it was due to their teammate, but you can see they also had a cut, so there was a tire problem developing down here. So it looks like good news. Nobody else has this batch number. They might not have the same problem.
And Bobby Hamilton Jr., the 55 car, trying to get by Jeff Gordon. And folks, I don't think Jeff Gordon's car is as fast right now as it was before the contact with Ricky Craven.
That's 8th place that Gordon just lost to Hamilton. He just got to ride it out till he can get on the pit road and get that fender fixed.
And I don't know, they'll make it a little bit better, but they're not going to make it as good as that thing was to begin with. The bodies on these cars are so important. When you do that kind of damage, you can't get it fixed 100%.
So lap number 80 at Dover. Jeff Gordon gets nicked up.
And usually when you do damage like that, it'll usually tighten the car up. When you affect the nose like that, the car will get tighter. It won't want to turn as good as it did before.
It was either 1977, 78 here at Dover. I was about a 5th, 6th place car. Same situation up in 3 and 4. I ran in the back of another car with the right front fender, the way Jeff did with the left front, and my car was perfect after that.
Really?
Won the race, going away. They took a 5th place
After that?
after the wreck.
And you've been trying to figure out how ever since.
Exactly. I just wish I knew.
Interval from Jeff Gordon up to leader Dale Earnhardt Jr. You see it's growing.
Just every turn of the wheel, it seems like it's growing by 1/100 of a second.
Bill Weber
Well, and down here in the 24 pit, 3 fab pieces for the front nose of Jeff Gordon's car. They have several pieces. The one they're looking for now, obviously, for the left front. Gordon and Loomis have talked it over, staying out for now. NASCAR has also advised the 2014 of exactly what we heard about spotters seeing smoke coming from that wheel well. You could also see it going down the front stretch a few laps ago. Total preparation, that's how you make the best of bad days and walk home with a championship at the end of the season.
You see the smoke just barely coming off that left front right there. And hopefully that will not cut the tire as we go along.
Of course, it was just the last race that Jeff Gordon had problems. This was Richmond, Virginia, a couple of weeks ago. He's racing Sterling Marlin for a top 5 spot.
Some contact in the left rear, and Jeff Gordon's night was ruined. He was able to get back on the racetrack,
but he lost 100 points. He finished in 36th position.
Tell you what, well, that car does not look that bad right now, BP. He's hanging right in there, and Harvick hasn't gained anything on him.
The problem that Jeff Gordon has is he's losing ground to the 8 car. We saw just a moment ago he was 7 seconds back. He's now almost 9 seconds back to Dale Earnhardt Jr. So Rusty Wallace's car is not very good, and Jeff Gordon's is bad enough now. He can't get by Rusty.
So Gordon running back in the 9th spot while Ricky Rudd runs in 2nd place. Top 2 in the championship. Of course, Rudd gaining those 100 points on Jeff Gordon at the Richmond race a couple of weeks ago. We heard from Rudd in our pre-race, and also we talked with him at more length earlier in the weekend about his needing to take advantage of Gordon's problems to have a shot at the championship.
Well, we got to take advantage of the situation. We haven't been able to do that over the season. Jeff has had some problems along the way, and we've had some problems, but on the days he's had his problems up until Richmond, we haven't been able to capitalize and take advantage of the big point swing like we did the other week at Richmond.
And Rudd is 222 points behind Jeff Gordon coming into today's race. 10 events to go. You see right now he's gained a little bit of ground.
He's gained 27 points right now on Jeff Gordon. But if this race were to go green flag for a couple of 100 miles, Jeff Gordon would lose, I think, more position, because I think that fender situation would make his car get slower and slower as the run progresses.
That was 7 seconds just a little bit ago.
And now it's over 9 seconds, the difference between Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Actually, that's to Ricky Rudd. It was 7 seconds to Dale Jr., so Rudd is almost a second behind Earnhardt Jr., so Gordon's 10 off the lead. Coming up on the 1/4 point of the MBNA, Cal Ripken Jr. 400. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.